Good morning. I'm Jerry Hatfield, the board president, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the SECO Energy 81st annual meeting. 81, my goodness. I'm happy to see such a large crowd of members today and guests today. Thank all of you for joining us as part of the co-op business model. At this time, I'm calling the annual meeting to order, and I ask our Vice President for Corporate Communications and Energy Services, Catherine Gloria, to lead us with the invocation and the pledge, and introduce my fellow trustees and welcome our guests. Will everyone please rise? Catherine?
Would you join me in prayer? Thank you, Lord, for bringing us together today. We are grateful to be part of a company that embraces fellowship among employees, members, and guests. We ask that you bless this meeting, the refreshments served, and the hands that prepared it. If there are those among us here this morning who are not well, we ask that you ease their pain and uplift their spirits. Watch over us as we travel home. Please keep us safe. Amen. Please remain standing. I'd like to welcome the Color Guard. This is the Colonel Philip C. DeLong, Detachment 1267 of the Marine Corps League. The gentlemen with us here today are Neil Stapleton, John Little, David Sylvia, and Fred Fredrickson. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you'll remain standing, I'd like to welcome Tim Wallace. He is our Manager of Consumer Billing and Accounting. He works for SECO, and he's going to lead us in the national anthem.
Y'all sing with us. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much, Tim, and thank you, crowd, for singing along. Thank you so much. Y'all can be seated. Thank you for the big hand for the color guard, too. They are delightful gentlemen. I'd I'd like to introduce the SECO Energy Board of Trustees and their spouses at this time. From District 9, we have Trustee and Board President, Mr. Jerry Hatfield, who you've already heard from. We have District 4 Trustee and Board Vice President, Mr. Richard Dennison, and his wife Suzanne is with us. We have District 8 Trustee and Secretary Treasurer, Mr. Bill James. We have District 1 Trustee Scott Boyette and his wife Rebecca is with us. Mr. Boyette was recently re-elected at a district meeting on January 31st. We also have District 2 Trustee Mr. Dillard Boyette with us today. The District 3 Trustee is vacant right now. A special meeting will be held in the upcoming months to elect a trustee to fill that position. District 5 Trustee Ray Vick and his guest Marilyn are here with us today. Mr. Vick also was recently re-elected at a district meeting on February 21st. We have District 6 Trustee Earl Muffett and his wife Phyllis is here with us today. And we have District 7 Trustee Mr. Joseph Kuziak. I'd like to introduce a medium-sized list of special guests here with us today. We have Tim Westgate, CPA from Purvis Gray & Company. Those are our auditors. Mr. Mark Gano, CPA from the same firm. We have Mr. Ray Paulk, President of New Horizons Consulting. Ms. Trudy Novak, she's the Vice President of Member Services and External Affairs with Seminole Electric Cooperative. We have U.S. Congressman Daniel Webster here with us today. Pam Jones, Community Relations Representative for Congressman Webster is here with him. And Krista Pearson, his District Director. We have a former trustee with us here today, Mr. Barry Evans. We've engaged the translation services of American Sign Language Services. They're over here to the left. We have photography by Catchlight Studios today. We have a number of volunteers from the United Way and 15 different local food banks. Thank you so much for bringing in your donations today. That's going to feed a lot of hungry people. And then as I wrap up, let's give a hand to the band. That was Margot, Rochelle, and Rodeo Drive. I'm going to bring Mr. Hatfield back up to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. The first order of business is the appointment of a recording secretary for the meeting. I'd like to appoint Nora Brown if there's no objection. That's quite a job, and she does a good job of it. At this time, I'm asking to officially close registration after every member still in line has been accommodated. I will now call Mr. Bill James, Secretary Treasurer, for the determination of a quorum, certifications, and approval of the 2018 annual meetings. Mr. James?
I, William W. James, Jr., Secretary of the Sumter Electric Cooperative, Inc., do certify that, 1, application for membership received prior to notice of the annual meeting has been in accordance with the bylaws and has been duly acted upon by the Board of Trustees. Number 2, the number of members registered is 2,797, which meets the quorum requirement for this meeting. Apparently, this 2797 brought a few friends with them because the total number in attendance so far is $4,480. I, William W. James, Jr., being duly sworn, state that I am the duly elected Secretary of Sumter Electric Cooperative, Inc., and that between the dates of February the 8th, 2019, and March 11th, 2019, I had mailed to each member of the cooperative with their electric bills a notice of annual meeting of the members of the cooperative on March 23rd, 2019, by United States mail, and that the attached is a true and correct copy of the notice of the meeting. Takes care of that piece of business. The next order of business is to approve the minutes of the last meeting, 2018. I would like to entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the 2018 annual meeting minutes and present them as they stand for your approval. It sounds like I'm going to get approval to not do that. Do I have a motion? Aye. I have several. And a second? All right. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you again for joining us today. If you're a tenured annual meeting attendee, you may be aware that Florida's cooperatives are required by statute to hold an annual meeting. We are also required to achieve a quorum to conduct official business. With the growing size of our cooperative, that's about 2,000 member registrations. Each member who attends typically brings a spouse or guest, so that this event becomes quite a deal. We host nearly 7,000 people at last year's meeting, and it's good to know we made a quorum again this year. That's really good news. We encourage you to show up this year, and we've created extra seating areas for your comfort and monitors with speakers. Most important, we upgraded a few of the door prizes. Now that's important. The grand prize, a gently used truck from our fleet, is always a hit with the members. This year, it's a 2009 Ford Super Cab 4x4, but with just 1 mile less than 60,000 miles on it. The golf cart this year is gas-powered instead of electric, and it's red hot. If you look at it, it's bright red. Other prizes include something that everyone can use. That's cash. We'll draw winners for a $1,500 check, a $1,000 check, and 2 $500 checks. Other prizes will include smokers, Wi-Fi thermostats, Apple TVs, power tools, Ring video doorbells, Amazon Fire tablets and TVs, electric bill credits, and a variety of gift cards. I wish you the best of luck in the prize drawings today. You must be present to win, so stick around and have your tickets ready. Another great benefit of belonging for a not-for-profit electric cooperative is the turn of capital credits. The capital credits process is the allocation of return of excess margins to you, the members. Capital credits are paid or retired annually with board approval. In 2018, the board approved the retirement of a record $5.5 million back to you, the members. Since the inception of the Board of Trustees has approved retirements totaling more than $60 million. These retirements appear as credits on your November bill, so watch for those money-saving credits this year. While we're talking about dollars and cents, I want to talk about something really serious and important to me. It's important to the community, and it's called pennies from heaven. You have the opportunity to call in to one of the offices and let them know, or talk to one of the local businesses where you pay your bill, or call us on the telephone and tell us you would like to join Pennies from Heaven. You round up the dollar amount on your monthly bill, and those pennies go into a fund to help members in trouble that are sometimes short of money and can't pay their power bills or of some other tragic need. You can enroll online, call us, or visit one of the member service centers. On behalf of the entire SECO board, I want to thank you for your membership. Our 9-member board of trustees are elected by you. The board sets the policies and approves budgets that guide your cooperative. The Chief Executive Officer, Jim Duncan, along with his senior staff, manages the cooperative under these policies. Our goal is to provide you with affordable, reliable energy for years to come. You're going to learn a lot about SECO and how it controls costs, maintains our infrastructure, and supports the communities we serve from our next presenter. It's the awesome Jim Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Hatfield. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. You look better every year. Every year you look better. All the friendly, smiling faces. 81 years we've been doing this, and I promise you we're going to keep doing it till we get it really, really right. And I think we're close. I really do. But thank you very much. So happy you're here. I will keep this update fairly short, not more than an hour or two. Of course, if you see the upper part of that slide, that's what would happen to me if I actually stood up here and talked that long. My friends behind me would remove me from the premises, but a few things I want to share with you. You've been here, you've consumed the biscuit, you've probably had plenty of sugar and caffeine. I could tell when the band was playing, you were hyped up, you were ready to party, and that's great. We're happy that you were. There's a movie, Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. In our case, if we feed you, you will come. And if we add some door prizes, you will really come. So I think we got all of that right. We will send you a survey next week. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what we can do better, all of those things. But please don't be bashful, because I know you're not. I hear from you periodically, and sometimes you really aren't bashful. But anyway, share with us your thoughts, because that's how we know what to change. We tried something different this time. We themed this meeting Feeding the Cooperative Spirit, and we ask you to participate in a food drive to assist our local food banks. At this point, I don't know how that turned out. I hope it turned out well. We're partnering with our local United Ways, and they've been doing the heavy lifting. They will handle distributing the food to the pantries that have gotten somewhat depleted over time. But we thank you for what you did bring, and it will go to a very good cause, I promise you. Mr. Hatfield mentioned our Roundup program, Pennies from Heaven, which I won't overdo what he said, but voluntary, you round your bill up to the next dollar. It could be as little as 1 penny, or it could be 99 cents. So voluntary, hope you'll take advantage of that. It also, the money is used by United Way to help folks who need assistance in a lot of different ways. So hope you'll participate in that. If you already are, thank you very much. Speaking of United Way, we have an incredibly generous group of employees. Last year, 2018 alone, collectively they donated $66,000 to our local United Ways. We do the campaign, we provide payroll deduction, but that is employee money. That is money they have earned, and we're extremely proud of all they do. It goes, as I said, to United Way. They use it to feed, clothe, educate, job training, another of very important needs in our communities. So excellent job by the employees. Since 2004, collectively, our employees have donated $860,000. It's just amazing, amazing generosity. And it doesn't stop with United Way. We adopted Toys for Tots 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. We actually have been designated as a drop-off location for members of the public who want to donate a toy. And that has gone well as well. We get the toys in November and December. The volunteers get the toys, distribute them to the kids who actually need them. I have particular affinity for this program because it's run by the Marine Corps. So maybe I'm a little biased because of that, but they do a great job providing that service, and kids who otherwise would not have had much are given a toy. Our employees alone donated over 100 bicycles just last year alone. So another great effort by the employees. Another activity they have taken on is the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life. And they have been very active in that for many years. As you know, the proceeds from that go to help patients, doctors, research, all of the things needed to help try to cure that horrible disease. So we're very proud of that effort. We continue supporting it. And we need to move along. So last year and again this year, we did and will be doing a golf tournament. Last year that tournament raised $30,000, which went to the Cancer Society. For Relay for Life, we have an employee team that walks and goes through all of that activity on the night of the event. A new feature this year, if you really don't want to get into walking, but you'd like to participate, you can become a virtual team member. You can sign up online at our website. Details will be in the April SECO news, so you can be a very active participant from the comfort of your own home. So hopefully many of you will take that up. So, I know you'll find it hard to believe looking at my tender young age, but this is my 40th annual meeting at SECO. Now, I'd like to have you think I started here when I was 12, but that's really not quite the case. But over the years, as I look out, I see a number of familiar and happily friendly faces, and that really makes doing all this worthwhile. But I also suspect there are a number of first-time attendees with us this morning. So if you are, would you just raise your hand if this is your first? Excellent. Thank you for being here. And I'm sure there are a number of folks with more than 5 years attendance and membership. Could you raise your hands? A growing number. We'll skip 10. How about 20 years or more as a SECO member? Smaller number, but still quite a few. So you just keep coming. We'll keep trying to get it better. I suspect over time the annual meeting format has changed a bit. And I suspect the gifts have changed a bit. I think going back several years, the plow was the grand prize, livestock not included. Also, for some of you who are really seasoned veterans, you know that we used to, a number of years ago, and that slide's a little ahead of schedule, but that's okay, we used to actually provide on-site a chicken dinner. Now, trying to feed this multitude, I can't do loaves and fishes, so trying to do that many chicken dinners was a bit risky, as you can see, so we no longer do that. A lot has changed over that time. You know, I had dark hair and I had more of it, but whatever. By default, I am the longest tenured SECO employee with my almost 40 years of service. And I'm probably also the oldest in terms of years, but we won't check that out. But regardless, I love it here. I really do. You heard our employees on the video clips. This is a phenomenal place to work. And these gentlemen treat me very well. Our employees are phenomenal. So, you know, at some point, enough will be enough, but I'm not quite there yet. We're about to do my favorite part of this entire meeting, but I want to hop on my soapbox a little bit. You guys know I'm pretty conservative. I was so pleased with your reaction to God Bless the USA and to the color guard, the pledge, the anthem, all of those things that used to seem so basic and so appropriate, but anymore, we have people kneeling during the anthem. We have people burning the flag. That's totally, totally unacceptable, but the... but I would like to get on with our normal military salute. We do it in order that the Department of Defense says the agencies or the branches were created. So, the first is the National Guard, both Army and Air. So if you served or are serving in the Army or Air National Guard, please stand. Thank you. If you served or are serving in the Army, please stand. And my Navy friends, the folks who transported the Marines all over the countryside. If you served or are serving in the Navy, please stand. And I haven't heard the songs. Our clapping, I guess, drowns them out. An auxiliary of the Navy, the Merchant Marine. If you served or are serving in that branch, please stand. And of course, created in 1776, the Marine Corps. If you served or are serving in the Marines, please stand. Semper Fi. And next, an extremely important part of our protection, the Coast Guard. If you did or are serving in the Coast Guard, please stand. And then the Air Force, Airmen. If you served or are serving in the Air Force, please stand. And finally, a group that does not get the recognition they deserve, our first responders, law enforcement, corrections officers, firefighters, dispatchers, EMS. If you were or are in any of those, please stand. So thank you all for your service and your support to this great country. So, it may be a little bit brown-nosing in a way, but I would like to recognize one more time the board. They take their fiduciary responsibility extremely importantly. They provide the governance, the guidance for this corporation, and they are my bosses. So would you give them a hand, please? On a more somber note, I'm sorry to say that former trustee Rob Henyon, who served District 7, passed away on February 15th of this year. He was very active on our board, served for 9 years from '09 to '18. His wife Shirley is here. Our condolences to her and to the rest of that family, and we thank him for his service. Quickly, and if you would hold your applause to the end, I would like to again recognize the best senior staff in the electric industry anywhere, not just Florida. Top row, my left to right, Ben Brickhouse, VP of Engineering. You've met Catherine Gloria, VP of Corporate Communications and Energy Services, and Gene Kanakovsky, I knew I'd blow that, our Chief Financial Officer. He keeps the money very much under control. Bottom row, left to right, John LaSalva, VP of Operations, Greg Morrell, VP of Corporate Services and HR, and the hardest working one of the bunch, Nora Brown, who has the task of keeping the board and me straight, and that is more than a full-time job, so I thank them all for what they do. But really, the heroes at SECO are the 400 employees who work basically 24/7 to make sure that when you flip that switch, the right thing happens. And when the inevitable hurricanes come through, minimize the downtime as much as they possibly can. We have been featuring in our SECO news for the last several months, and you saw the video clips before the meeting, a number of our employees and giving you some background on what they do, where they live. All of our employees live in the communities that we serve. They're part of your neighborhoods. They're probably part of some of your families. We are extremely, extremely proud of them. So they work very hard for you. All of this they do. I just stay out of the way and try not to mess it up. So thank you for recognizing them for their hard work. Obviously, I'm very proud of them. So a reflection of how well we are doing is the American Customer Satisfaction Index, or we say ACSI for obvious reasons. That's completed toward the end of each year. We were honored to learn at the end of last year, early this year, that our score had risen to 89, up slightly from the year before. And what's nice about the ACSI score, you can compare not only to other utilities, but to other types of business. So we have done that. We've looked across different brands, and I am an Amazon shopper. I love to be able to go online, find what I want, and in many cases have it the next day. I was surprised, and pleasantly so, that our 89 is actually 4 points higher than Amazon. That surprised me. Other scores you see up there, Costco 83, Sam's Club 80, but Walmart drops down to 71. I find that interesting that they're part of the same corporation, but Sam's gets 80, Walmart gets 71. And then if you look across our industry, our 89 is incredible compared to the rest of the field. If you look at the investor-owned and municipals, their average is 75. If you look at the cooperative average, it's 77. Again, ours is 89. So very proud of our employees and the effort they put forward to you. And thank you, those of you who were surveyed, for giving us those very nice scores. You've also heard me talk about a number of times, probably more than you care to hear about, the J.D. Power trophies, the 3 down here. Our first one was 2015. We were recognized for having the highest score among mid-sized utilities in the South. And then J.D. Power changed the next 2 years and put all the cooperatives into one category because the cooperatives were beating everybody else. So we won again in 16 and 17. And then last year, 18, a co-op up in Georgia sort of snuck up on us, or sneaked up, whichever is appropriate. So they eked us out by a few points, but we're trying hard this year to get another one. But it really doesn't matter. The recognition is nice, but that's not why we do what we do. We do it because of you. And we're doing everything we can to make sure that you're happy with what we're doing. Our slogan here, and it continues, is every minute, every moment, every member matters, and you truly do. So that's the theme we operate under, and so far it seems to be working. We're very happy about it. A few numbers, I won't bore you to death with too many. Collectively, you and the other members purchased 3.4 billion kilowatt hours last year. 3.4 billion. That was up 184 million from the year before, about 5.5%. So healthy growth, very good for our bottom line, which ends up coming back to you. Because of that growth, we are in a constant building, improving our facilities. Our total investment in utility plant is $878 million. Bottom line margins from those sales was $14.8 million, up over budget by about 1.5. A necessary thing, keeps our bankers happy, so they keep loaning us money to do the expansion of the system that I was talking about. And that expansion now has taken our total utility plant to $878 million, growing every day. We are increasing that by $3.3 million every month of every year. That's necessary to provide the service that you expect and deserve, and to serve those new members. So growing constantly, $3.3 million a year, a lot of dollars. And we also are proud of the prospering communities that we serve. Last year we had a record number, at least record since the mid-2000s, number of new services. 5,161 new services were added to our system last year. That was up 22% over the year before, and the year before was up over the year before that. So we are growing and growing rapidly. We are now serving 205,644 active accounts. For a cooperative, that is huge. I can't say it like the Donald, but that is huge. We have grown to a regional utility. We serve parts of 7 counties here in Central Florida. To put that number in perspective, there are roughly 900 co-ops across the nation. The average or median size is about 13,000 total members. So every 2.5 years, we add the equivalent to 1 full co-op. And we've gotten used to it. Our employees are very good at it, so we deal with it. And we're finding that the growth happens in many parts of our different service area counties. A lot of people think of the villages and the growth there, and I happen to be a villager now. 43% of our growth was in Sumter County last year. We had 32% in Lake County, a lot of activity in South Lake County, a lot of subdivisions reinvigorating. And in Marion County, we're starting to see more growth there as well, 23%. So a lot of activity throughout our service area, and happy that that's happening. I talked last year and pretty much every year about Seminole Electric, our power supplier, a generation and transmission cooperative headquartered in Tampa, power plants in several areas within the state. I complimented last year Lisa Johnson, their CEO, on the power plan they have put together for power supply for the coming 20 years or so. Collectively, the 9 member systems that make up Seminole serve about 1.6 million Floridians. Growing, that power plan included shutting down one older coal-fired plant about 2022 or 23, replacing it with a modern, highly efficient natural gas-fired plant. It has met the needed regulatory approvals and the state approvals, so it's moving right ahead. Also, a topic many of you are familiar with, growing use of solar. Seminole has already contracted to add 40 megawatts of solar to their portfolio in the coming years. They're actively seeking proposals for up to 300 more megawatts of solar. All of this, of course, is environmentally friendly. It reduces their greenhouse gas emission footprint. So hats off to Lisa, and Lisa actually is down in the southern part of our state today. There are 3 co-op annual meetings today. She's been at ours for several years in a row and felt like she had to spread the wealth, so she is down. She can attend 2 Peace River and Glades Electric, so she's doing that today, but we have a number of her staff here and certainly happy to have them. But overall, Seminole is doing a phenomenal job on our behalf, which in effect is on your behalf. So very much appreciate all they're doing. They have some really, really smart people. As we are meeting the needs of that growing number of members, we're doing a lot of improvements to the system. We're replacing the older copper lines. They have certainly served their useful life. We're improving significantly the size of the federal substation, the Marion Oaks substation. We're adding fiber optics to be able to communicate better with our substations. We inspect and replace a lot of poles every year, trying to make sure we catch them and get them replaced before a storm takes them down. All of that is expensive, but it's necessary. We also have a very, very good vegetation management program, tree trimming. We have drastically reduced the number of outages caused by trees. And as you know, that's a delicate balance. The story I often tell is, when we want to trim, those are your trees, and you let us know that. But when a storm comes through and tears them down, suddenly they're our trees, and you want to know when we're going to get them out of your driveway. So we try to walk that fine line and meet with members, agree on what we're going to do on their property, and try to keep that balance in place. And so far, it's working well. Storm Center is a part of our online activity. It's a way for us to communicate with you and you with us when there is an outage caused by a storm. Last year, we introduced a brand new and improved version of that. It has been very well received. It works really well on your mobile devices. And our surveys indicate that 85% of you have a smart device of some kind, phone, tablet, whatever. It's designed to work well with that. We have a number of different ways to communicate with you, full communication package. You can be enrolled in email, text, voice, whatever your preference. You can change it online if your wishes change. We also have a feature you may consider pretty important, a do not disturb feature. Typically, when we restore an outage, we will try to notify the affected members that we think your power is back on, please confirm it. Sometimes that happens in the wee hours of the morning. So you have the option of saying, do not call me between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. I'll find out when I get up. Otherwise, we may call you at 3 a.m. and say, your power should be back on, and you may say things to us we didn't want to hear. So you have that option. You can follow the restoration. The outage reporting will come back to you. The anticipated restoration time will be provided, and when it's all over, we'll try to tell you what caused the outage, so you'll be informed in that manner. So we greatly enhanced that method of communication. Another thing we did, and you can follow us on social media, of course, all you social media warriors. We have also, and we put this into place during Hurricane Irma. When we have an event that is likely going to last longer than just a few hours, you want to know, as best we can tell you, when is your service going to be restored. Hurricane Irma was a major event for us. We had severe damage throughout the system. We developed this application at that time, and the way it works, each night, midnight, whatever, we load into that system the areas that crews will be working the next day. And you can look if your area is there. You can do your happy dance and say, all right, they're going to get me tomorrow or today. If your area is not there, at least you can plan accordingly and not wonder. So that has been well received. It works very well. Sadly, we're on the cusp of Atlantic hurricane season. Not a happy thing. All the forecasters are saying it will be an average season. Now, frankly, I don't know what that means. I don't think they do either, but it's a safe thing to say it's going to be average. But all we would say is prepare early. You can go to our website and see the essential things that we recommend that you have on hand. You can bookmark it on your social media devices, all of those things, so that you don't end up in those long lines trying to buy that last bottle of water at Walmart when everybody else is there. So hopefully it will be less than average, but we'll be ready, and we encourage that you be ready as well. Talk about solar, important topic to a number of you. We actually have 1,128 members interconnected with our system who have solar systems on their homes. It works well. We have redesigned the entire solar section of our website to make it hopefully more user-friendly. You can go there, you can learn more about solar. There's a solar estimator that can help you determine how much will it save me if I put a system in. You can learn about the solar panels, the inverters, the insurance requirements, all of those things, about everything you want to know. Our goal from the beginning has been to support members who want solar, but not subsidize them to the expense of everyone else. And I think we've done a pretty fair job of doing that. So I would suggest research it, look carefully. We will do a solar audit for you if you want, and we won't try to talk you out of it. If you want to do it, great, no problem. I would say there are a number of scams out in the solar industry. You'll be promised that you will have no electric bill, that we will write you huge checks every month. Pay close attention to those promises. If they sound too good to be true, they probably are. But let me just stress that investing in solar does not totally eliminate your electric bill. There is a charge for being interconnected to an $878 million system that's interconnected with the rest of the Florida grid. So that price has to be paid by all of us to cover the cost of meters, poles, all of those things. Plus, although solar systems have gotten more efficient, there are obvious many times they're not working. Nighttime, storms, cloudy days. So all of those things, we have to be ready to provide service to you when your system is not producing. So that's why there will always be some amount of bill. Changing topics again, and I think I'm getting pretty close to the end here. I know that's what you guys are looking for. This one's a little political, and you may not have heard much about this one yet, but you will. There is a group pushing a constitutional amendment that in effect, well, let me just read the title to you, which is pretty complicated. Right to competitive energy market for customers of investor-owned utilities, semicolon, allowing energy choice. There's a lot behind those words, and I suggest that as we approach the 2020 elections, we all educate ourselves on what that all means. The title's not the only thing that's complicated. The explanation is probably worse. The devil clearly is in the details. If that amendment passes in 2020, it takes 60% of the voting population to approve it. Basically what it does is totally deregulate the Florida energy market. It dismantles it. The people pushing this amendment have never generated 1 watt of electricity. They've never restored one home after a hurricane or a storm. They are energy marketers. They are telemarketers. The amendment requires a new bureaucracy to be created to oversee all of this mess. It's just, I mean, we are actively involved in challenging it. It's at the Supreme Court right now for review to make sure that it is a single subject amendment. It's not, but they may convince the court that it is. Basically, a number of out-of-state investors have spent millions of dollars getting enough signatures to get it before the Supreme Court, hoping to make billions of dollars in the market going forward. The claims are misleading, the promises are misleading. For example, it says that you as co-op members or we as co-ops and municipals are exempt from the deregulation. The reality is we can't be exempt. Our Seminole buys and sells to and from the investor-owned utilities on a daily basis. Deregulation will take away the territorial service areas that are certified for us and the other companies by the PSC. All of that is it will be horrendous to try to implement. And as you look around the country for states that have deregulated, their rates are not lower than ours, unless they just have a natural advantage of sitting on top of coal mines or whatever. So just keep in mind, it's being put forward by entities that are not utilities, have never done utility work, and don't want to do utility work. So enough of that. You'll hear plenty about it coming forward. So there is in your packet a flyer on this to talk about it. If you sign up for notifications by April 15th, that date's familiar for some reason, April 15th, you'll be eligible to win a Microsoft Surface Go, a small laptop. So we'll try to keep you informed if you do sign up so you'll know what is coming. And moving right along, I am almost to the end. Don't applaud, you'll make me feel bad. Prize drawings shortly, but we'll be doing annual report trivia in May. You can win a $300 bill credit if you're successful in that. Now, in your packet are some voting packets for two items. One is an Articles of Incorporation change, one is a bylaw change. They're both absolutely related. Both are recommended by your board. I certainly recommend them. There's an orange booklet that talks about the articles, a blue booklet that talks about the bylaws. There is a separate voting set of cards for each of those because we have to do the votes separately to be legal. So when I get through telling what little I know about it, Mr. Stone will come up and try to lead you through it. But on the orange packet, we're recommending the amendment change, Article 6, Section 5. Bottom line, in my non-legalistic terms, the board will be able, if they choose, to allow you to vote for bylaw changes, approved minutes, etc., annual meeting type items electronically or by mail. We can then count those votes toward our quorum in case we have a super rainy day and the crowd doesn't show up and we need those other votes to meet that quorum requirement. That's all it changes. It allows you or your neighbors to vote electronically or by mail on those types of items. The reason we have two votes, the voting method is in the articles as well, and it takes a higher number to approve that one. So I'm messing it up. I'll let the attorney explain it in words that hopefully you'll understand. But everything I've said, both of those actions allow us to have that vote electronically or by mail. So, having botched that up totally, I'm going to ask the attorney, Mr. Lewis Stone, to come up and lead you through the voting, the discussion, and the voting. And I'll leave by saying I absolutely, now that I'm a member, I totally support these changes and will be voting for them. Thank you.
Well, it's another great crowd, and thanks for coming out today. I think Mr. Duncan has done really a pretty good job of explaining what we're doing. We have two different things to vote on today, and they're going to be voted on separately. The Articles of Incorporation, as he said, require 2/3 votes, so we're going to do that one first. Basically, the trustees would like to update a procedure that was created in the 1930s, and time has moved on, and this will benefit the cooperative from the ability to obtain a quorum, and will also certainly save money. One of the concerns of the quorum is that as we continue to grow, and you just heard the numbers about how quickly we're growing, it is not a problem today, but it's a good thing to do now in case we end up with a problem later on. With that, if you could, pull out the orange packet, which has to do with the Articles of Incorporation. There are two things you could hold up. You could hold up one that has an X on it, and I hope you don't. You could hold up the blue one that has a check on it. If we have, by visual count, a 2/3 majority, we won't have to physically count the ballots. I have a motion by Jerry Hatfield. I have a second by Mr. Vice President Dennison. All in favor, please raise your red ballot. Your blue ballots. All those opposed, please raise the orange ballot. I think we can say clearly that the ayes have it. The next is for the bylaw change. The bylaw change is the nuts and bolts of how this will happen. Once again, I have a motion by President Hatfield and a second by Vice President Dennison to adopt the amendment. This is your green and red. If you are in favor of this motion, please raise the green. If you are opposed, please raise the red. The Greens have it, and I thank you very much. What's left is older new business. If there's any older new business that needs to come before us, after that we will close and have door prizes. Do I see older new business? Seeing none. Mr. Hatfield.
Wait a minute, Mr. Stone, please. Stay there. I am the old business. Don't leave. Many of you recognize Lewis having served as a cooperative attorney for many, many years. He is not retiring, but he's downsizing his private practice a bit. So this will be his last annual meeting with you. So I'd like Mr. Hatfield to come up and help me with a presentation. We have a plaque for Mr. Stone, and I would like to read the inscription. It says, "In grateful recognition to Lewis Stone, cooperative attorney from 1985 to 2019, your 34 years of dedicated service to the SECO Energy Board of Trustees brought a diplomatic and thoughtful perspective to the table. Your legal expertise and diplomacy over the years helped SECO through both turbulent and thriving times. Your tenure was marked by a significant period of record-high member satisfaction and reliability improvement. Your advice and guidance helped the cooperative achieve a number of milestones. Both the trustees and SECO management team who have served during your tenure are grateful for your assistance in maintaining our commitment to the cooperative purpose and the values. Your presence will be missed." So, Lewis, thank you very much for your service.
Okay, I need a little help. We're going to try to adjourn the meeting, so I need a motion from the floor to adjourn. I have one. I need a second. I have one. All in favor, say aye. All right, we're adjourned.